And for further analysis, we're joined from Ramallah by the spokesperson of the Palestinian National Liberation Movement, Fatah, Ahmed Fattouh. A very warm welcome to Qnews, sir. Sir, after the Cairo meeting, what diplomatic steps can turn the pledge to lift the blockade and withdraw Israeli forces into a dated, enforceable timeline?
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you today. The pleasure is mine. Now, it needs a lot of commitment from the international community, from the United States, to pressure Israel. Now, Israel is putting some ridiculous claims that they need all the dead bodies of the prisoners, but we all know that Gaza is decimated, is completely destroyed, and that requires time and a lot of effort in order to find them and reach them. But we see that Hamas is sending dead bodies, almost every day. So there is a process that's going on. So Israel need to abide by this international agreement, need to abide by the principles of peace, and need to stop its attacks and the blockade over Gaza. So I believe the guarantors, the United States, Trump, need to exert further pressure to find a reasonable way out of this and to go into phase 2 of this agreement.
Sir, how will the pledge transfer to an independent technocrat committee work in practice, and under whose authority will it operate within the Palestinian Liberation Organization and the Palestinian government, sir?
Of course, it needs to be under the umbrella of the Palestinian Authority, the Palestinian Legitimate Authority. That in essence, is a national pillar to face and confront the Israeli agenda that want to divide Palestine, that want to marginalize the Palestinian state. When we fail to bring the Palestinian Authority back to Gaza, we are actually serving the occupation by accepting the annexation or the undermining of the Palestinian state, which all the partners, all the international community, the Arabs are actually working for, but any other proposition would be undermining to these efforts. So this international committee, this committee by independence, it's not an independent committee, it's a committee with independence, meaning they are not affiliated to any political party, but rather a technocrats, must be under the umbrella of the PLO and the Palestinian Authority. Yes, and therefore we have to work into that stream and that direction. Yesterday's statement was an improvement that says that they recognize that the unity under the PLO is important to go for the Palestinian agenda and to work with the international community. But they failed to mention that this committee must be under the Palestinian Authority, and that should be unequivocal and unambiguous, that this committee is assigned by the government, is under the government, cooperating with the international community, cooperating with the Arabs. And I believe that is the demand of Egypt and Saudi Arabia and many Arab countries, as well as the Europeans. Probably only Israel and maybe the Americans are still not there yet. So we have to push toward that direction. It's important here to say that we want to end any form of division or any schemes that wish to undermine the Palestinian state. Israel has used that division since Hamas coup in 2007. Israel used that coup against the Palestinian cause. They say that we could not make the two-state solution as long as there is Hamas in Gaza. And now
this is their narrative now, sir, as well.
Unfortunately, we call on Hamas. Listen, we have to be wise here. This is not a matter of faction. This is not a matter of political party. This is a matter of Palestine. And when it comes to Palestine, we are all martyrs for this case. We are all dispensable for this case. So Hamas needs now to submit the authority toward the Palestinian Authority in order to remove all pretext from Netanyahu's hands. And when we talk about the weapons, we are saying to Hamas, we want one government, one law, one Palestinian forces to govern all over Palestine. This would remove all pretext from the far Zionist factions who want to occupy all of Palestine. And when it comes to weapons, they submit their weapons to the Palestinian Authority. Or I believe there was a proposition by Egypt that they could submit that weapons to an Egyptian committee, and they could freeze it for a period of time until we reach the state. So there is a solution for that. We can't give Israel the green light by saying we don't want to give our weapons. There is even more important things right now, and which is the Palestinian sovereignty and the Palestinian statehood. When we do that, we are solidifying our cause, we are solidifying our liberation struggle. And let's be truthful, if these weapons was strong enough to stop the occupation, we wouldn't have to discuss this today. I believe we have to be wise to unite under the PLO and within the Arab community. And I have to remind the Hamas and the Palestinian faction that the Arab League has approved the Arab plan, which stated that the Palestinian Committee of Independent Technocrats would be under the umbrella of Palestinian Authority, which was later adopted by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and then adopted by the Europeans and most of the world in the New York summit. So we have this stream flooding in support for the Palestinian state. We have this strong momentum. Let's not cripple it.
So you don't need all this. It's your right. It's your country. It's your sovereignty. Of course, this adds value and it's added value, but nobody needs anybody to rule his country.
Of course, we refuse any form of custodianship or guardianship or any colonialism from foreign entity. We rule ourselves under the PLO, the legitimate authority. The seat in the United Nations is there because of the PLO. So we have to preserve our institutions. We have to preserve where we have reached now of this improvement with the international community through our 77 years of struggle, culminated to this point that we have to continue from here, not to allow any alternatives or accept any foreign governance upon our land. We accept international forces on the basis that they will be on the borders of Gaza to preserve peace, but not to be the security forces on the Palestinian land. The security forces belong to the Palestinian security of the Palestinian Authority, which many of them are trained in Egypt. There are about 5,000 have been trained recently, and they are ready to go there to preserve peace, not by the mentality of a faction, but the mentality of a government that sees all people and all citizens of Palestine as equal despite whatever their race or religion or ideology. And that is the way that we could move forward to confront the Israeli scheme to undermine the Palestinian Authority. And what you see in the West Bank, from confiscating the Palestinian tax money, from the settlers' terrorism, all that comes to undermine the Palestinian Authority. So Palestinian factions has to unite under that authority. Together, we can confront Israel with all power and solid against all schemes.
Sir, what is Fatah's plan for security in Gaza? Who leads? How are forces unified? And how do you prevent parallel chains of command? I know, sir, that you gave us in your previous answer part of the answer, but I want it to be more elaborated.
We have already a structure of security. We already have, by the way, many security personnel and employees within the Palestinian Authority in Gaza. But unfortunately, because of Hamas coup, because of Hamas, limitation and oppression and oppressing to those parties, they are not working. But they are still in contact with the Palestinian Authority, and they are ready to take responsibility immediately as soon as Hamas steps down from power and calls upon the Palestinian Authority that we are here, we want you to rule us. And as I told you, there are 5,000 Palestinian military personnel who have been trained in Egypt, and we already have a cooperation with Egypt. Many of our security forces are trained there, as well as in Jordan and in other countries around the world. So we have the experience, we have the capabilities, we have the manpower. It just needs to be implemented on the ground. But that's also dependent on the Israeli limitation, because now Israel, of course, put a veto on the authority. That should be resolved now, because we have to go to phase 2, where phase 2 would put solution to these issues that we are talking about right now. Therefore, we hope that the pressure from the Arab world will reach us. Now, I have to warn that Israel is trying all space not to go to phase 2 and to perpetuate this occupation and this division and to keep Gaza stateless or governless. We have to be wise here and be smart, that we confront this and to work with the Palestinian Authority together as a whole. Then until we go to election, when the temporary committee finish its job, we go to elections, general elections.
How long, sir, do you imagine it's going to take you to get into elections? Time.
The president issued a decree saying we will do it within 1 year.
1 year.
1 year after the end of war. So we are ready to do it. We are ready to do it right now. But as you know, there's a lot of massive destruction. Gaza is devastated after the genocide of the Israeli occupation and the mass killing that happened at the hands of those terrorist forces of the Israeli army. So we have to wait until Gaza recover and heal again, and the people will be capable to go to election polls and to elect.
Okay, sir, if Israeli annexation moves in the West Bank return, what coordinated diplomatic response will Fatah seek with Arab and European partners without derailing the Gaza track?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question quite correctly. The annexation of the West Bank?
If Israeli annexation moves in the West Bank return, Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, and what he always does, he comes back anywhere, he says he's leaving. If it returns, the annexation, what coordinated diplomatic response will Fatah seek with Arab and European partners without derailing the Gaza track, sir?
I believe there will be no annexation. This is a dream by the Zionist movement and will never be truthful. Although on the ground they are terrorizing us, confiscating land, stealing land, building settlements, but I will tell you that Palestinian steadfastness will be there and forever will be there to stop these colonialist plans. Also, the United States position yesterday was pretty strong.
Yes, sir, it was very strong, and it was a very strong backlash in the face of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Exactly. And the Arab world was very strong as well. They have said clearly that they refuse any form of annexation. Saudi Arabia said that if there will be any future talk about normalization plans, it has to be on the basis that there is an independent Palestinian state on the 1967 borders. Thus, they refuse any sort of annexation. Also, UAE, United Arab Emirates, also stated that if Israel go after that, this deal that they signed in 2020 will be void. So there's an international momentum here, international consensus against the Israeli annexation plans. But we also warn that they are doing it silently or gradually, not silently actually, they're doing vulgarly in their terrorism and violence. The world need to therefore take actual action by sanctioning those terrorist groups in the West Bank that are terrorizing our people every day and now, and also to sanction those companies that build these settlements. So there is a process that we are going to seek, of course, the international community, our partners, the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, and our daily peaceful resistance against this, racist colonial regime that is eating our land every day.